I suppose the first question to ask is, you know, as actors, was that something you always wanted to do? Is it something in your blood, or, you know, were you pushed into it, or what's your motivation for acting?
Well, I joined an amateur dramatics group when I was 14 on the basis that there were girls there. That's where, yeah, a friend of mine said, oh, there's this group, let's go join it. And we ended up, age 15, playing all the romantic leads to these sort of 25-year-old women, because all the other men were about 70 and fought in the Second World War. So yeah, and then I thought about going to drama school when I was 18, and luckily my parents talked me out of it. But I ended up, the bug still stayed with me, and I ended up going when I was 28 to Lambda for 3 years. So, and yeah, it's an odd job. It's great when you're working, but yeah, you know, there's lots of downtime in between.
Do you have another string to your bow when you're not working?
No.
No.
Unfortunately not. I was a civil servant for 10 years, and I worked at the Lord Chancellor's Department, which is now the Ministry of Justice, and but the computers we used then, you know, were sort of like a bow and arrow compared to the stuff they've got now.
So parents weren't actors?
No, they were teachers.
Okay.
Yeah. Hence my didn't do great at school because I rebelled against it.
Yeah. Daisy, I think you've got a theatrical background, an acting background to touch.
Yes. My parents, as you probably know, were both actors. My grandfather was actually a director as well.
Really?
He had the Belgrade Theatre in Coventry built. And he did a lot with the training directors. I really, really wanted to be an actor since I was very, very small. And actually, far from pushing me into it, my parents desperately tried to keep me away from it. They said, you can go to drama school, but we want you to go to university first. Get a degree, something to fall back on.
Yeah.
So I have a degree in English.
Yeah.
It hasn't proved great for falling back on, but yeah, I write and I sing and write songs and things, and I have sort of money jobs that I do.
You did your first theatre job with me, didn't you?
Well, really strangely, this is a very special convention for me, because I did my first theatre job, and my first ever professional job after drama school with Tim. I did my first TV job with Gemma.
Gotcha.
So a lot of firsts in the room for me.
Yeah. And your dad directed them?
And my dad directed that, yeah. No nepotism at all.
In fact,
he did make me audition.
in fact, Geoffrey was here, Daisy's father was here a few years ago, and he did a marvellous performance as the master in a sketch which was called The Master in the Psychiatrist's Chair. And if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube, and Geoffrey's superb in it. It's very, very funny. So we will hand over to the audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, questions from the audience. Gentleman in the front.
Explain the process, how you get chosen to play John Perry, and then if I can ask you so far what's come out, what's been your favourite story?
Okay, well, it was odd actually. It was my first ever big finish, and it was with Tom Baker. And I was playing, it was Destination Nerva, it was called. And I was playing Lord Jack, who was this Victorian zombie imperialist general. And so I thought instead of a sort of very nasty, aggressive voice, I'd do quite a sort of camp Fey voice. That's something like that, you know. And during the recordings, Nick Briggs, who was directing, and Tom kept saying, "Who's he sound like? He sounds like someone. He sounds like someone." And he kept saying, "I didn't hear this," but in the middle of a take, is there any kids here? I can't say. Yeah, I don't know.
PG audience.
PG audience. In the middle of a take, Tom suddenly shouted out, "It's effing John!" And so they gave me a few lines in light at the end, a sort of distorted thing. And then I was in New York doing a play, and I think I just got to bed about 7 in the morning, something like that. David Richardson, one of the producers, called me and said, "We're going to recut. We think there's a respectful amount of time passed since passing of John, and we're going to try a third Doctor. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, probably half cut. Yeah, all right, whatever. And forgot about it. And then I got back to England, and my agent rang me, and I went, "Oh my God!" And so I was having kittens about that. but they did a thing where they had a narrator, so I was narrating and then doing the third Doctor with it to sort of ease it in, and luckily the response was very good, and so yeah. As for my favourite, it's very hard to say because they're all great. I mean, I love the one we did with the Cybermen and the Devil's Footprints. I love that because that's the story I remember when I was a kid. But they're all great fun.
This is a slightly rude question because behind it is how old are you? So, I mean, do you remember John Pertwee from the telly?
Well, I remember the First World War.
He's only very good for his
I
age.
don't, I'm afraid. I mean, Tom Baker was my doctor. I remember seeing John in a repeat somewhere, but I couldn't get my head around it because I didn't understand the regeneration thing. So it wasn't really Doctor Who for me. Tom was always my doctor, and weirdly, that's what sort of sent me away from the Doctor Who world when I was a kid. Was when Tom regenerated into Peter Davison. I couldn't handle it. I was like, what's going on here? This is just some weird thing. And then the next week I tuned in and this is bloke in cricket whites. And I was like, this isn't Doctor Who anymore. So I stopped watching. But yeah, I remember John primarily from Worsley's Gummidge.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Daisy, did you see your mother as Liz? Because I was very little when that was
Oh
happening.
no, Sylvester was my doctor.
Oh, right, good.
So that ages me.
So you presumably had to study the tapes subsequently?
Yeah, so my first seeing my mum on Doctor Who was the Five Doctors.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was very small then, and I remember watching her dematerialise in that tunnel and just being so devastated, even though she was in the kitchen. I thought she'd gone, I was like, oh my God, where is she?
Yeah, very good.
Oh, and my favourite Big Finish, I think, again, I love them all, but I think for me, the first one I did was really great because I got to play slightly evil Liz. But I think Intelligence for War, my most recent one, because it's quite a Liz-centric story, so it gave me a lot of reach to do exciting things and take control.
As you normally do.
I don't know what you mean.
Thank you.
I'm nervous about asking this because you look somewhere between 30 and 40.
Who are you talking to?
But,
Why, you're charming, you're right.
but Daisy, everybody knows your mum was pregnant while filming Ambassadors of Death. So are you the first person to star in Doctor Who before you were born?
Sadly not. I'm still waiting for the call to be in Doctor Who. I spent Easter with my family, my dad and my two brothers, and we were talking about Doctor Who, and I was saying, me and the middle of us, Tom, we were talking about the fact that we played chilies in downtime.
Chilies?
They were called chilies. Has anyone seen Downtime? Yeah, so they were the kids in the headphones that were sort of being really like suspicious and sinister. So my brother and I were chillies, and we were saying, yeah, we've been in Doctor Who, but Ben hasn't. And he was like, actually, I think you'll find that I was in the actual series because he was the one that was in my mum's tummy at the time.
Hi.
You were fine first Doctor. Can you do Words of Government?
Yes, that's okay, please, I'll tell it.
That's actually, honestly, that's the first thing I do in order to get back into the voice. Because it takes me a couple of weeks before we record anything. I have to go through all the DVDs, or well, now on iPlayer, luckily, and I have to sort of refresh and remind myself where it's placed in my mouth and in my throat. So, but that's how I first get into it. Sometimes in the studio, if I lose it, I do a bit of Wurzel.
Are you natural mimics, or do you have to work
No,
on
I can't do impressions at all.
Daisy, can you?
Not really. I mean, I'd have to. I try, but I'm not sure I'm any good. Yeah, it would have to be the right person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy with it. No, it's not easy, but it's easier because I obviously sound a bit like my mum to start with.
Yes.
Head start.
I think we can do voices. You know, we can do a certain type. You know, if you see two dogs playing, you can do their voices and things like
Yes.
that. If you've got a kid with you or something like that. It's, I used to be able to do Richard Brooks. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think most people do that. But I used to be able to do Richard Burton quite well. And Bobby Robson, weirdly, but I can't remember how you do it now.
Is that the Welsh thing, the Richard Burton?
It's probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he used to, yeah.
We do know, we worked out that Tim is the first Welsh doctor.
Yes.
So that's the first for Wales. That's the first for
It'll be the
Wales.
first win this year, that's for sure.
So how do you get to the voice, can I ask?
Well, that's it. It's basically going through old episodes, old stories, and I have on my phone. I have an audio tapes on my phone, the studio, because it takes quite a while to get into it because it's a certain placement, and his delivery was so brilliant, and his enunciation was fantastic, and so every time we do a story, I try to find something new with him, you know, either his softness or his staccato, or being able to deliver 5 lines in one breath, things like that, you know. I mean, he was a master at speech, and particularly that he had that sibilant S, which is always helpful if I've got a lot of S's in the script, because then it's quite easy to get back into, so you just roll the tongue a little bit to get that S.
Hard not to overdo it, I would imagine, because you can miss it a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I have to sometimes, it's weird, out of all the jobs I do, theatre, TV, everything, it's the hardest, and I'm absolutely knackered by about 3 o'clock. And it's really strange, it really is tiring doing it, because I'm playing someone, I guess. But, yeah.
It's got a lot of energy as well.
Yeah, a lot of energy, and so radio acting is very physical, it's almost theatrical, so you can't just stand and do a voice. I'm there in the studio doing all the, you know, the hands on the hips, the hand behind the head, the thinking, you know.
That's very...
That one, and that, yeah. There's a lot of that, and Katie helps me greatly with that.
Right, yeah.
So are you worried about being replaced by AI?
I think we all are, I think all actors are, to be honest. Yeah, it's got to be stopped, isn't it, somehow. Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, it's already happened. I think there's already been a couple of audiobooks produced by AI, which is worrying for us. I mean, we're up against the wall anyway as actors at the moment. You know, we've got the strikes in America and COVID and whatnot. And yeah, AI is a worry. But you know, what are you going to do?
Do you ever have any sort of competition with Katie when she does her impression of John?
Yeah, I worry more when she does her Welsh accent. She keeps doing a Welsh accent in the studio. Oh, lovely boy like that! And sort of like this Welsh accent. And I keep telling her, shut up, because I'll go back into the Welsh accent. And then I've got Nick in the studio, that sounds bloody Welsh! You know, so... yeah, she does... Yeah, Katie's great. She's a wonderful help to me. She's always been so supportive, and she's brilliant in the studio, and she tells me stories about John, which I can't repeat here. And but she's wonderful. But yeah, she does her voices, doesn't she? Yeah, she's great. She's a ball of love and energy.
Obviously your mum was Caroline John, right? And your dad's Jeffrey Peters, right? Have you seen The Keeper of Charlton with your dad as the master?
I haven't. I mean, I haven't seen it all the way through. Well, you say you'll tell him. My dad doesn't listen to any of my Big Finish stories at all. I know shame.
Sounds like a good judge of character.
Mostly because he doesn't want to have to listen to you. No, so I've seen bits of it. I've seen clips of it. Obviously, you know, it's a gift to be able to see your dad looking like a rubbish tip. There's a lot of mileage in that. So. And obviously he does his master impression a lot. When we were growing up, you know, that was just him being stern. You will tidy your room.
Both clearly seem to have a very good relationship. Who cracks the other up the most when you're working?
I think Tim tries to crack me up, but it always backfires because he ends up laughing with me. I'm just like stony faced, and then he'll go.
It is great in the studio. I mean, it is with Daisy and with Sadie and with Kate. We always have a great laugh, and it's lovely for people coming in, because guest actors, they're always very nervous coming in because it's Big Finish, but it's very irreverent in the studio, and Nick is
he's the worst. He's the worst. Nick never stops me.
Yeah, I mean, we do take the work seriously, but we have a lot of laughs in this. It's very, very naughty and it's very schoolboy, isn't it?
I think it's my favourite job for that. It's just lovely to come in and see people that you already have a
Yeah.
strong connection with. Yeah.
Can I ask how long does it take you to do a story? Is that a day or 2 days?
It's 3 days for one at the moment. We used to do 2 stories in the box set, and that would be 2 days each. But now they're doing the longer ones.
Yes.
It's 3 days, isn't it?
3 days for 7 parts.
And do you do rehearse, record, or how is it rehearsed? Do you get to rehearse?
No. I mean, you should really be familiarising yourself with the script beforehand, and then we read through it, and I think they'll record it, and then we'll do 2 takes, and then do pickups.
Yeah, you'll go scene by scene.
Yeah.
You do have it in front of you, which is a great bonus.
Yeah. Do you do it in order, or is it out of sequence?
No, it's always out of sync. Well, it depends because you've got the guests. So
I see.
the guests
So it's their
They'll
availability.
do a day,
Yeah.
and we'll do all the edits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he tries to keep it as much in order, so the bits where it's just us, or just us and John, we'll do those in order.
Yes.
But we might have to pause for a bit for him to do other scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love your outfit.
Tim, do you have a favourite third doctor expression when you write a quote?
It's words, really. It's good grief. And precisely. It's anything with S's. It's a sonic screwdriver. Things like that, yeah.
Yeah.
The tone of those Liz short TV series is a little bit more serious, possibly than the later stories. Is that reflected in all the scripts, or do you change your performance accordingly versus the later stories?
Oh, interesting. It's funny. I've just seen all of Liz's stories, and they are serious, but there's a real sense of it's a very dry humour in them, because I think all three, the Brigadier, the Doctor, and Liz, are all sort of have that kind of humour. It's a little bit sort of pulled back, but I think there's a lot of warmth in it.
Yeah, definitely.
But definitely the scripts are brilliant. I mean, they are kind of the bedrock of it. And they make it easy to do whatever we need to do because it's all in the script.
We try and find humour in as much as possible, don't we?
And I think the writers do put in lots more humour now, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you're listening, I think you need to have those,
you need the levity.
those moments. Yeah.
I mean, I think the Liz Shaw stories, that's season 7? Season 7? Yeah. I think the Liz Shaw stories were when Doctor Who was at its darkest, actually. And I can remember being a 5-year-old, being terrified by the sphere that Sam Seeley finds, and when your mum gets attacked by the Silurian in the barn, you know, having nightmares about that.
It's quite a violent
And it's pitchforks
series.
as well, you know, it's not...
There's a lot of death in it as well. I don't know how many people die in later
When you got Inferno as well, you've got
they're dying all over
you've got the fascist thing, haven't you, in Inferno as well?
Yeah,
which is like,
it is actually very
How
good.
does John Pertwee say fascist?
fascist!
Thank you.
Nazi!
You're doing PlayStation there, but to try and do Tom's voice or something.
No, I can't do Tom's voice. John Coulshaw obviously is Tom's voice. He's brilliant. I keep getting him to do it in the studio. But no, I actually got asked to do an audiobook for the BBC. And it's the first one I've had sent back, because I tried to do Tom's voice. And he said, no, do your own voice. So yeah, no, I can't do Tom. I wish I could. It's a wonderful voice, isn't it?
Has Sean Pertwee heard your John Pertwee voice?
I hope not. Yeah. Well, I'm more worried about John Coulshaw because he keeps doing the Third Doctor. And I warned him, when you're walking downstairs and I'm behind you make sure you hold on to those handrails, mate.
John Colshaw's Brigadier is astonishing.
Oh, it's astonishing, isn't it?
I can't hear the difference.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's truly incredible. He's a lovely, lovely man as well. He has he comes across when he's interviewed. He's just such a gentle, sweet.
He's a treat, actually.
He is. He's very funny as well.
And he's constantly doing voices.
Yes, he's great. He in fact recorded. My mate had a 50th birthday party I couldn't go to because I was working, and I felt a bit scared to ask, but he was so happy to do it. I asked him to do a voice to be played at his at the party, and he did Donald Trump. If you want to hear it, I've got it on my phone. I can play it to you later. But yeah, it's great. You just ask him to do a voice, and you think he'd be going, oh God, no. But he just loves doing it.
He really does.
It's brilliant.
What did the message say? Or is it too not?
No, it's not rude, but it's on my phone. But it was something about Tim's a traitor for not being at your birthday party. It's something like that. But it's Donald Trump is brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully he won't have to do that much longer.
Yes, yes.
A random question, but which has been your most favourite Big Finish lunch?
Nothing surpasses Toby's lunches.
I don't know. Well, we don't use that studio anymore, unfortunately. We're
I
gutted.
don't think he runs it anymore.
No, he doesn't run it anymore. But it was unbelievable. Like he'd be recording, and he somehow get the time to do 3-course meals. It was
He'd be
unbelievable.
like, just give me 5 minutes, and we'd chat for 5 minutes, and then he'd go, right, it's ready, and he'd open the kitchen door, and there would be a sideboard, and there would be like a whole salmon, and some sort of tart, and about 4 different salads, like proper nice salads. So it was incredible.
Yeah.
And dessert.
Yeah. But it did mean we couldn't fit through the door to get into the studio by the end of the
It's a very
recording.
small door.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how the role of you getting Liz came about.
So much like Tim, I'm trying to think when it was. It was 2018, I think. And I just got a call from David Richardson saying I'd done a few Big Finishes beforehand, little parts in other series, and he just said, we're thinking about bringing back Liz. Would you be interested in playing it? And it was, I was instantly like, yeah. But it was a really lovely thing to be asked. I never thought it would come about. And it's been a real privilege because it sort of feels like I've got something that I'm sharing with my mum now. Something that she's kind of passed down to me, and I almost feel like, did you have something to do with this? Yeah, so it's been a really special thing to be able to do it.
If you could play any Doctor Who villain, who would it be? Either in the show or in Big Finish?
I love the Cybermen. They were the ones as a kid used to scare the life out of me. I don't know. The Master would be lovely to do. Yeah. Roger Delgado's Master.
And Jeffrey Beaver's Master.
And Jeffrey Beaver's Master, of course. Yeah, what were you?
To play a Master would be amazing. I think I've got the hair for a Primord. I think I'd pull that off quite well.
Or Silene.
or a Silene.
Or the mutants.
I'll tell you, the Autons are pretty scary.
Yeah, they're scary.
That to me is like the nightmare. But be nice just to have a villain created.
Yeah.
Maybe we could be a 2-headed villain, Tim and I, that keep bickering at each other.
The writers that you want to write for you for Big Finish?
I really want Lisa McMullen to write something for me. I think she's superb. I've been lucky enough, John Dorney has already written our first one.
Yeah.
They're all exceptional, but I do love Lisa. She wrote a River Song episode for me, which I loved. So yeah, I'd love her to get hold of Liz again.
Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a nerd. Most of my reading is factual stuff. So I'd love Anthony Beaver, the historian, to write one. Or Stuart McConey.
Oh, if we're talking anyone.
Yeah.
Maggie O'Farrell. Donna Tartt. That would be
Would you call me?
Be very sinister. Maybe Shakespeare.
Any Shakespeare?
Or George Orwell.
Yeah, he'd do it. He'd do it.
Spoke about AI earlier, and I'm wondering if the BBC ever decided to bring the Mum's character back, or the Third Doctor in, like, Tales from the TARDIS, say, would you be up for voicing them?
Yep.
But if you could do Tales from the TARDIS with your Mum's character and the Third Doctor, who would you want them paired up with for, like, that episode? And, like, review a classic episode?
Inferno would be great. That'd be fantastic. I'd love that.
Yeah.
The Brigadier being the sort of Mosley character, that was brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very dark, isn't it? Very sinister.
Yeah.
Or the demons.
I think Inferno was my mum's favourite as well because she got to play
Yeah.
Evil Lou.